What was the Please Stop School presentation that you witnessed? For 8th grade talent show, two girls sang the Mr. Bladell song. Mr. Bladell was a good-looking, recently college-graduated teacher that basically was about how cute they thought he was. Even then, it was incredibly uncomfortable, and I remember looking at the teacher's face and he didn't seem very amused. God, I would hate to be that teacher. Bladell, 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 God made you out of clay. Bladell, 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 please give me a bye-bye. I was in 4th grade and a girl in my class did an oral report on Martin Luther King and how he was a hero for freeing the slaves. Macron / _ Macron. To be fair, my 5th grade teacher thought the same thing. A woman with her master's degree. People wonder why my state is one of the lowest ranked in the US, and I tell them that. Edit, Jesus Christ, how bad is public education everywhere else? In history class, we all had to do a presentation about some sort of injustice in the world. One kid chose a prison camp for his topic. All his PowerPoint slides were photos of men being stripped, chained, whipped, sodomized, and forced to give blowjobs. We were 13. How far did the teacher let him go before he was stopped? The one where my school got ripped off by paying a guy who claimed to be on SpongeBob to come talk to us about drugs. He did look kind of like Tom Kenny, I guess. I was also thinking backward about the question. I thought op meant when did the school have to tell everyone to quit doing something. For me it was banning Pokemon cards in 1998 because toddlers were brawling over that first edition Charizard. What did they get instead? A guy on drugs who talked to you about SpongeBob. It was my sophomore year English class. This kid who was reading his essay in front of the class and started to stumble over some of the words. The teacher recognized the words and found the essay the kid plagiarized and started helping him read it. The kid didn't understand what was happening and just thanked the teacher and kept reading. Imagine the kid realized and said fuck it and kept reading. That's how I'm imagining it. I watched a kid in his last year of high school start his presentation with I might fuck up while presenting this because I plagiarized the whole thing last night and barely practiced. The professor didn't hear what the student said, but just acted like they did and gave a smile and thumbs up signaling that the student could begin presenting. The whole class heard it, but everyone was just too shocked and curious to see if he would actually be able to pull it off. I'm pretty sure he did. Ballsy move, Jason. Ballsy move. Not a presentation, but during our school assemblies we often had student performers, which were usually musically inclined individuals or theater kids doing a scene/monologue. One kid decided to do a stand-up comedy routine about a girl giving him a blowjob. So awkward, and the principal had to interrupt him. Thank you, Kevin, that's enough. For some reason the pure cringe from this hit my like a truck. I can only imagine what being in the audience would be like. In college, someone was doing a presentation on Nelson Mandela and kept referring to Africans as African Americans. Something similar happened in my school too. The kids were supposed to be presenting on African music, literature, and art, and they starting talking about Kendrick Lamar. My mom had a black friend from the UK who was also Muslim. She came out to the US for business and people were shook by this black lady in a hijab with a British accent. Someone called her an African American and she said, I really hope I don't sound American. This was my presentation, and it was about the science behind how Mountain Dew can dissolve a mouse. This was in 4th grade. Needless to say, I got some parent complaints. Every year someone did the Coke and Bones experiment at my school. Every year it won an award. Man. Some people would be shocked to learn what happens when you leave a mouse in a container full of stomach acid. Not at school. But when I was in high school, my church youth group went to this church camp. For those uninitiated, Thursday nights are normally the really emotional nights. Well, this camp was different. Thursday night the guy that started the camp comes on stage and begins giving a bunch of middle school and high school boys and girls the sex talk. All I remember from that night was the quote, "Just because there's a hole there doesn't mean you have to stick something in it. But then the boat will sink." I've never seen anyone else acknowledge that Thursday night at church camp is always emotional. I no longer feel alone. During nursing school, a guy decided to use My Little Pony figures as props to a seminar room of about 100 people. He told the class that he would refer to himself as his pony name for the duration. Don't remember what it was. Also, not that this is relevant, but he wore a black leather trench coat and it was pretty hot in the room, yet he never took it off. Cringe. Edit, he wasn't a student, he came in to do a talk about epilepsy and his experience with healthcare. We got to review them at the end and I gave him a good score because he actually had a lot of interesting things to say about his condition even if it was cringy. How does a brony survive nursing school? I've seen the culture that evolves in the classes. It's super preppy. They would be eaten alive. Are you sure you weren't in the Matrix? In 1984, when I was in 6th grade, each class did a winter concert. The 8th grade football team sang "I'm Dreaming of a Black Christmas" in blackface. Green Bay, Wisconsin, Bayview Middle School. Edit, it was 1984, not 1985. 1985, Green Bay Middle School. Sounds about right. Did the teachers stop them? This was in fucking college. Our bio finals were to present on any topic that was related to biology. A group was presenting on types of protection for sex. Not once did they refer to any body parts or fluids by their scientific names. So, yes, they literally had dick, cum, and pussy on slides and read off them. Everyone kept glancing over at our professor, who had this look like he was just constantly cleaning his glasses because he couldn't believe what he was witnessing. They got Kentucky fucked on grading. I googled Kentucky fucked, but it just delivered porn results. Urban Dictionary about to get a new word. In speech 101 in college we had to pick a children's book and voice act each character. That was it. That was the entire assignment. Well, one student decided to take it to the next level. He chose a Berenstein Bear book and decided to not only do voice acting for every single one of the characters, but also act it out. It was physically uncomfortable to watch this guy scramble around the room and pretend to be bears and other animals. It was not well done. It was awful. That sounds hilarious. This was a Spanish class in college, and I think the assignment was something like talk about your best friend or some such, just kind of a softball assignment so you could practice using the vocabulary. And one classmate's friend was evidently a friend with benefits. Was there anyone there with no friends? Oh. You reminded me of high school French, sophomore year. We had to do show and tell. One girl brought her ultrasound photos and told us all about her bébé. She wasn't showing yet, so it was quite the surprise. Our adorably sheltered teacher was too shocked to figure out how to stop the presentation. Compared to some other stories in here, this is minor, but it was a group project for one of my literature classes. There were 5 people in this group. According to the rubric for this assignment, everyone was supposed to have equal speaking parts. One of the members in this group would just not stop talking. Half of their presentation was just her talking, and she went on about each of her slides for like 5 minutes. The rest of her group members had like 1 or 2 slides each, and she had like 5 or 6. She would also interject into the other group members' parts to add her opinions. The look on my professor's face screamed, "Just shut up already," every time she talked. Oh man. This could have been me in high school or college. I was such a know-it-all and talked way too much. I cringe so hard when I think about it. A teacher asked us to compare the cells in our body to anything we can think of. Obviously some students compared the parts of the human cell to schools, jails, libraries, normal things, right? Well, this one student that sits next to me had a different idea. These were group projects, keep in mind. This girl managed to strong-arm her group to compare the human cell to the infamous webcomic Homestuck. She did this successfully. Not only did I feel dirty, but her group felt worse for having their names on it. Oh god, this sounds like something I would do in 6th grade. I had a friend who deliberately wrote moral of the story instead of moral on a presentation, and I have never forgiven him since. How? Like seriously, how do you manage to make that kind of comparison sound at all plausible? Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.